Released by Rockstar in Q4 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2 made waves with its opening numbers, already sitting among the top 50 games all time in overall sales, and it will undoubtedly continue to climb that ladder over the next couple of years. The critics are saying it's among the greatest video games of all time, with Metacritic rating it a whopping 97 out of 100, but from a logistical standpoint, I find myself wondering, how does the title realistically stack up against some of the legendary open-world gaming adventures we've experienced in the past? I'll go ahead and throw out there, you won't find much better writing and story structure in the vast majority of games, regardless of genre. From this standpoint, the game is truly great, and very few would argue otherwise. But the aspect of the game that I think worth analyzing is the open world aspect. This is the facet of Red Dead 2 that I think is most likely to be emulated by other developers. Rockstar is no stranger to open world innovation and influence, so let's discuss which aspects of the Red Dead world we'd like to see developers take note of, and which we'd rather them leave alone. I've got three major criteria in my judgment of an open world. The first and most obvious aspects are the cosmetics. We're not discussing graphics and performance here, we're discussing the art, the colors, and the layout of the map. The second is fluidity of travel. Is there a fast travel system? How long does it take me to get from point A to point B if I choose not to fast travel? What are the rewards for manual travel as opposed to fast travel? And the third is what I call interactive capability. When you approach a person or object, how likely is it that you'll be able to interact with it? Will it say something to you? Can you go in it? Can you use it? Let's start with the first impression, the cosmetics. If you've seen any type of gameplay or analysis of Red Dead Redemption 2, you're already aware that the visuals in this game are stunning. The lush scenery is obviously quite the departure from the other Rockstar game we've been playing for the past few years. Having a game set before concrete and pavement took over the aesthetics of civilization really opened up the visual capability of their newest title. But this was undoubtedly a daring undertaking by Rockstar. They couldn't hide behind the colors of paint on buildings or the variety of vehicles as their visual pleasers. They were forced to approach it from a more natural standpoint, and they did it seamlessly. It's safe to say the visuals in this game are as good as it gets, and the mood created by the color palette takes me back to another open world that's been at the forefront of gaming for years, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. There's a vibrant feel to this game, but also a depth and warmth that takes me to the plains and mires of the Witcher's continent. But you knew the game looked great, I just wanted an excuse to show you some cool scenery. Let's move on to the logistics. In-game traveling can either be an exciting experience or a complete drag. I feel that at times, Red Dead 2's travels are a little bit of both. On one hand, the scenery is great, and the enigmatic characters roaming the roads are a blast, but I found traveling alongside my companions throughout the story to kind of be a complete nuisance. You're almost always prevented from riding fast when you have a comrade in tow, and you're often unable to leave them behind despite the destination being clearly marked ahead on your minimap. I understand that some great dialogues take place in these moments, but I can't help but feel that these conversations could be better retained by the gamer if they happen in a more focused environment. Simply put, some, not all, of the rides with other characters in the game are painfully slow and drawn out. But I don't want to give you the wrong impression here. I believe from a free roam, open world adventure standpoint, the traveling in this game is great. I'm talking about outside of the story, completely on your own, just goofing around type of traveling. The fact that Rockstar opted to leave out a full fast travel system was a great move in my opinion. I'm of the belief that when you travel in a game, you should have to make some sort of sacrifice, whether that be time, money, fatigue, or what have you. In this game, manual travel is a time sacrifice, and fast travel is partially a time sacrifice, partially a financial sacrifice. If you want to fast travel, you have to reach a stagecoach or train station, which don't just show up at every location. And once you're there, you have to spend some in-game currency. This gives incentive to travel manually and get that extra gunslinging experience and stumble across more missions. Now I'm going to show my age here, but the travel system reminds me a lot of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Morrowind is a massive RPG from Bethesda back in the early 2000s. You're obviously able to travel manually, or you're able to travel quickly by way of a rangy creature called the Silt Strider, or sometimes by ship. Both cost money to take, and they don't show up in every city, so this allows for a lot of extra discovery within the game. Manual travel took forever in this game, so a horse would have been nice like in Red Dead 2, but at least you could levitate in Morrowind. The aspect of the travel system in Red Dead 2 that I really don't have a comparison for is the auto cinematic view traveling. I've heard mixed reviews on this addition, but I must say that I found it extremely handy in my playthrough. If you press and hold the large touchpad on the PlayStation controller while en route to a marked destination, the view will begin to rotate different cinematic views while automatically taking you to your destination. This adds a convenient middle ground of fast travel and manual travel, and is undoubtedly a hit for those of us who are suckers for a scenic view. But you can definitely be caught with your pants down if you're attacked because the game doesn't automatically snap out of cinematic view during confrontation. Overall, the travel system has its issues, but it's great in that manual travel is incentivized and fast travel requires sacrifice. So, just how interactive is the expansive open world of Red Dead 2? It pretty well follows suit with other Rockstar games. There are tons of objects, people, and buildings to interact with. You can have some sort of interactions with pretty much every NPC. But if you're hoping to be able to explore every building, you're gonna be a little disappointed. Just like in Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto 5, many of the buildings and structures are for cosmetic purposes only. I would say well less than half the buildings you see in the game's largest city, Saint Denis, are actually interactive. Most just sit idle, and this bugs me a little when it comes to an open world title. The Elder Scrolls titles are the standard when it comes to this, where you can pretty much enter every building at some point in the game, while maintaining the look of a large, immersive city. So, game developers going forward can learn a lot from what is already one of the most popular games ever, and they can do so even if they're a far cry from Rockstar's budget. You might not have the capacity to accomplish the cosmetic beauty of Red Dead 2, but you can take a few pages from their book when it comes to logistics. I definitely think the good distance between cities, coupled with encouraged manual traveling, provides priceless immersive value to this game. I would love to see the travel experience become even more of a focus in open world games going forward. If a game has great looking landscapes, I think the auto-traveling cinematic view we discussed earlier is a great option. Most games allow some sort of interaction with every NPC, which is necessary, but I would also like to see more games make every single building interactive, at least to a more realistic and immersive extent. So whether we think Red Dead has the best open world out there is completely irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that it's at the forefront of the gaming community right now, and developers are absolutely taking notes.